Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Monday, the 12th of June. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast, presented as always by our title sponsor of everything ZASLOW Show 2.0, Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE. That's 800-747-3733. None of this is possible without our friends at Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys. If you're dealing with a personal injury, they're going to treat you like family and get you the money that you deserve. Anidjar and Levine, accident attorneys, 800-747-FREE, 800-747-3733. So, what could have been the greatest stretch of games in the history of South Florida sports still was the most unique stretch in the history of South Florida sports, because we are the center of the sports universe. But the 4 straight home championship games, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, our teams go 1-3. The Heat 0-2. The Panthers a split, including Saturday night's loss in game number 4. And now, in these finals, where South Florida is in both championship series, NBA and the NHL, our teams have lost 6 out of 8 games. Both teams now down 3-1 the last time that we spoke, all right? We're doing this show Friday morning. Both teams were down 2-1, both with home games game 4. Both still totally in their series. And now you got the Heat tonight looking to stave off elimination. They have played 1 elimination game so far this postseason. That was Game 7 against Boston. The Heat are 1-0 this year in the postseason against elimination. The Panthers, tomorrow night, they are also 3-0 this year when facing elimination. So neither team, or really the way I say it is, both teams are in bad spots. But that doesn't take away from what has been just a tremendous last month and a half, almost 2 months for both clubs. The memories that I'm not mad. I'm not broken. I'm just sad. I'm sad about both teams. I still believe the Panthers have a chance. The Heat are I'm not going to sit here and say the Heat are done. They're not done. But the Heat are in very, very, very big trouble. You don't need me to tell you that. I mean, come on, what are we talking about here? The Panthers, I still think the Heat are in it. The Nuggets are about to be NBA champions. All right, only one team has ever come back down 3-1. That team had LeBron, and that team was also aided by a player on Golden State, Draymond Green, getting suspended for Game 5. You know, Jamal Murray is not suspended. Aaron Gordon is not suspended. And the Heat don't have LeBron. The Heat are in a terrible spot, and it looks like it's going to end tonight. The Panthers, I still believe, are in the fight. But look, unless the Heat lose in just soul-crushing fashion, I was never going to be angry about the Heat losing in the finals. Let's start with the Heat. I was never going to be angry about the Heat losing in the finals, because once you get to the finals, once you get to the championship round, it's like, for me at least, all right, we made it. We're there. Now, let the better team win. All you can ask for is to have a shot. And the Heat have a shot. They got to the championship round. They gave themselves a shot. So once you get here, and by the way, I don't look at this Denver team like there's no one on this Denver team that bothers me. There's no one, I don't find this Denver team, I don't hate this Denver team. Like the guy that bothers me the most about this Denver team are those Thug Jokic brothers. They're the ones who bother me. They're not on the team. You know, you look at, and I think part of it, by the way, is, yeah, there's not going to be as much animosity because it's a Western Conference team. It's a team you only face twice a year. Now, you know, if you would have faced the Lakers in the finals, all right, you'd be aggravated with LeBron. He would bother you. Okay. You know, if you were playing Phoenix, All right, maybe you're aggravated with Durant, Chris Paul with the dirty point guard antics. But I think part of it is it's a Western Conference team, so there's no real animosity with Denver. And you know what? Even last year where you got Jokic and Markieff Morris, like, that doesn't hold any weight for me for a couple reasons. Number one, Morris isn't on the team anymore. If Morris was still on the Heat, that would be one thing. But Morris isn't on the team anymore, and, like, Morris is not our guy. He was here for one year. You don't even remember him being on the team, you know? So I don't think about that situation from last year at all. I don't have any animosity toward this Denver team. And the only way I was going to be, like, angry with the Heat losing in the NBA Finals, and they haven't lost yet, hey, go out there, win a game. One at a time, win a game. Unless the Heat were to lose in soul-crushing fashion. Like, if the Heat lose at the buzzer tonight, the Heat are up by 2, Jamal Murray hits a 3 at the buzzer, and that's how they win the championship. Which, by the way, has that ever happened before? Where a team wins an NBA championship on a buzzer beater? Has that ever happened? That probably happened like back in like the 60s or 70s, right? Team wins the championship on a buzzer beater. Now, don't give me, oh, what about, John Paxson in 1993 for the Bulls, or Steve Kerr in 97, Michael Jordan, 98. Those were not buzzer beaters. You got the win with very little time remaining, but they were not buzzer beaters. I'm talking about a buzzer beater. No time remaining to win the championship. Has that ever happened? Anyway, if the Heat were to lose even tonight like that, just down 3-1, that would be crushing. Because, we're so close to bringing it back to Miami. And the reality is, while I don't believe the Heat are going to win tonight, but we'll get to that. There's no reason to believe the Heat are going to win tonight. Can they win tonight? Yes. I don't think they're definitely screwed, but thinking the Heat are definitely going to win tonight, or thinking the Heat are definitely going to win every game, doesn't make you a better fan than anyone. You gotta be realistic. We'll get to that though. But if you win one game, just win tonight. If you get to a game 6, all of a sudden, all bets are off. You're at game 6 at home, where you never win anymore in the playoffs. But game 6 at home, so you go into the game tonight saying, we just need to win 1. And the last time we were in this building, we won. So the Heat are not done, but if you say right now, ZASLOW, do you think the Heat are going to win tonight? No, I don't think the Heat are going to win tonight. But I was never going to be angry if the Heat lose in the finals. Once you get to the finals, you're there. You're playing for the championship. Let the better team win. And if we don't win, okay. But, for instance, if we would have lost to Boston last round, I was going to be livid. You know that. I was crushed in between game 6 and 7. I couldn't get my life together for those 48 hours in between game 6 and game 7 against Boston. I would not have been able to recover. But losing in the finals, I can handle that. The Heat can win tonight, but if they lose in the finals, I can totally handle that because they got there. They gave themselves a chance. So, am I crushed right now? Am I mad? Am I broken? No, not at all. I'm bummed. I'm sad at the state that they're in right now. I thought we had a great opportunity to win these finals. So, that's essentially my attitude going into the game tonight. I hope we have a shot going into the fourth quarter, but I don't know how realistic it is to just go out and say, Heat are winning this game. Like, going into game 7 in Boston, I was not confident there. But if you wanted to be confident going into game 7 against Boston, and you remember, my pal Evan Cohen, SiriusXM Mad Dog Radio Morning Man, super confident going into game 7. And maybe he feels the same way going into this game tonight, where the Heat, they love backs against the wall. They love making things difficult. They're going to respond in a very big way. That's the Heat culture. Like, The Heat are definitely not going to bow down tonight. I could totally see it being a good game. And the Nuggets pull away in the fourth quarter. Can totally see that. They're not gonna roll over and die tonight. They're not getting on a plane and flying to Denver just to roll over and die. That's not happening. You can bet on that. But it's tough to be confident going into tonight. And the main and that's nothing against the Heat. It's something to do with the Heat, but the main reason it's tough to be confident going into tonight, Denver looks like a champion. They do. Denver looks like a champion. You know, going into Game 7 against Boston, even though at that point the Celtics had won 3 in a row. Did the Celtics look like a champion? No. No. That's one of the reasons you could have been confident going into Game 7 in Boston. That's not a champion. Going into Game 5 tonight, based on what you've seen from Denver, they look like a champion. So, your doubt about the Heat winning tonight obviously has a little bit to do with the Heat, but for me it has more to do with Denver and what we've seen from them. They look like a champion. So, and conversely, you're looking at the Heat, looking at the Panthers, I'm not going to be mad about the Panthers either. Now, I do believe the Panthers are still in this. Hockey's a different animal. You know, Denver is clearly better than the Heat. And to come back down 3-1 against a team that is better than you, I mean, it's why it's only happened one time in the NBA Finals. But in hockey, the goalie can stand on his head. The goalie can have a crazy good game. Weird bounce here, weird bounce there, penalties. You can get outplayed by your opponent and still win the game 2-1 if your goalie was outrageous that game. Like, hockey, because it's so low scoring, hockey is a different animal. Sorry, I just had to sneeze. But because the game's so low scoring, hockey's different. You can be down 3-1, and you really do have to just go a game at a time with hockey. But I'm not going to be mad about the Panthers either. I'm especially not going to be mad about the Panthers if they lose because, man, 27 years in between Stanley Cup Finals appearances, the way that I remember 96, I now get to remember 23. And the Panther run has been incredible. Incredible. Especially because the way that all the overtime wins, 7-0 in overtime, because of all the overtime wins. Because of beating Boston and coming back down 3-1. We own Boston. Heat and Panthers. But I'm not going to be mad if the Panthers lose either. I'm not done with the Panthers yet. Denver looking like they're going to win. I'm not done with the Panthers yet. One game at a time. But my biggest takeaway, the memories that both of these teams, Heat and Panthers, have given us this postseason, that shit's forever. And yes, you want the championship because it's so rare. But I can't be mad about either team. Like, I'm not even a little bit mad about either team. Both of them over these last month and a half, winning the whole thing is so hard. And the memories, the all-time memories, especially for me because this is my first year not working on the Heat broadcast since my kids have been alive, essentially. I've gotten to watch these, and the Panthers are never in the playoffs. So it's the first time I've gotten to experience watching the games with both my boys. They've given me, I'm sure you as well, they've given the ZASLOW family all-time memories, both teams. I'm so proud of both of them. It's looking like it's not going to end the way that we want it to. But not even close to mad. Super proud, all-time family memories that both of these teams have given us. I think that really is how you got to look at it, with both of them now up against it. And now, because both of them are up against it, you got the opportunity to do something very special. And that's the way the Panthers looked at it. I remember going into the first even before they were down 3-1. But going into that first round series, because you remember the Panthers, they blew it on the final day of the regular season, where if they would have won that last game against Carolina, they would have played New Jersey in the first round. But instead, the Panthers blew it, and then they faced Boston in the first round. And instead of being upset about that, I was like, all right, we have an opportunity to do something special. We've gotten into the playoffs, and we are faced with an opportunity to do something all time. And guess what? They did it. So that's the way to look at both these series right now. It's very likely going to end poorly for both our teams. But they are both now faced with a scenario where they can do something all-time special. All right. But, I see, especially with the Heat, with the Panthers, I don't really know what there is to be critical, like what specific players or the coach to be critical about. I don't see it. But with the Heat, I see stuff where, you're upset with this guy, you're upset with Bam, or you're upset with Strus, or you're upset with Vincent, or you're upset with Spoelstra. He didn't play this guy, didn't play this guy. I really urge you not to do any of that. They're the 8th seed in the championship round who have given us all-time memories. That first round series against Milwaukee, Game 4, Jimmy with the 56. Game 5, Jimmy at the buzzer, and then winning it in overtime. And then the series against New York. While there are no specific moments maybe in the series against New York, although Game 1, second half, they took over in the third quarter, but just taking that ass against the Knicks. Then, of course, Boston winning the first 3. Game 2, nose-to-nose with Grant Williams. Game 3, Jimmy signaling the timeout. And then, of course, Game 7, taking that ass all game long. And hey, winning finals games, let alone winning finals games on the road, is so hard. Game 2, that shit was awesome in Denver. They were undefeated at home this postseason. And it's not over yet. But I really urge you, no matter what happens tonight, or maybe the next few games. Jimmy Butler did tell Neymar, I'll see you back here Game 6. You like that? Now, that's consistent with Jimmy. It's like, oh, Jimmy's guaranteeing a win. That's Jimmy after every game. That's totally consistent from Jimmy. But I really urge you not to take... This team has given us all-time memories this postseason run. And I really urge you not to get mad. Certainly not to get mad at individual players or the coach. I'm grateful for the run. Gave me a lot of joy, man, this postseason. A lot of joy. So I would just be mindful. I would be mindful of that. Anyway, hey, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. So glad to start the week with you guys on ZASLOW Show 2.0. Let me tell you about one of our great sponsors here, Water Cleanup of Florida. Water Cleanup of Florida, my boys, the Greensteins, they have over 60 years of combined experience at Water Cleanup of Florida, where their team is prepared to handle all types of leak detection issues. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. After the leak has been located, if you think you got a leak in your house, you call them right away, 954-900-8635. After the leak has been located and repaired, Water Cleanup of Florida, they're not done yet. They're not going anywhere. They're to clean, dry, and fully restore all the damaged areas. Water Cleanup of Florida, fully licensed, insured, and certified to provide that one-stop shopping that all of us busy homeowners and business owners require. No need to bring in other contractors. That's my favorite part. Water Cleanup of Florida handles the entire project from start to finish, serving the entire Tri-County area, Miami-Dade, Broward, Palm Beach. Call or text Water Cleanup of Florida 24/7, 954-900-8635, or go to WCUFL.com. Water Cleanup of Florida, we clean up your schmutz. All right, so let's stick here. Let's stick here with the Heat. Let's talk about Game 4 from Friday night. I did not go to Game 4. So, it's funny. If the Heat win tonight, I am going to Game 6. So, there's a little extra incentive there for the ZASLOW family. If the Heat win tonight, I am going to Game 6. I have not been to a finals game this year, which would be the first time ever that I did not go to a Heat finals game. In 06, I went to all three. Well, I mean, I've been to all finals home games before this year. And even in 2011, I went to the entire series. I was at all 6 games, including the 3 in Dallas. So if the Heat don't win tonight, because I would be going on Thursday to Game 6, if the Heat don't win tonight, it'd be the first time I've ever not attended, let alone all of them, a single finals game when the Heat have been in the finals. Obviously, we're not counting the bubble in 2020. But let's talk about Game 4, all right? My biggest takeaway, and the Heat, Tom Habershow talked about this with us on Friday, right? And what he expected them to do is exactly what the Heat did defensively, which was to really pressure Jamal Murray, double Jamal Murray. They did that, excuse me, all night long. Murray kind of struggled, did not have a good game. And they got great, I mean, Aaron Gordon, and who, look, for a number 3 overall pick in Orlando, he was a major disappointment. You select a guy, and Aaron Gordon is a super important part of Denver. But when you select a guy number 3 overall, the expectation is he is going to lead your franchise. And that's not Aaron Gordon. He was a big disappointment in Orlando. But with Denver in this role, he doesn't have to be the guy. Hey, he's not even the second or third guy. Aaron Gordon, super important player, super impactful with Denver. Bruce Brown, University of Miami. I mean, what an improved player he is. They were essentially the reason that Denver won. Jamal Murray did not have a good game, and Jokic did not even have close to a Jokic game. Denver looked like a champion in Game 4. The last couple games. Because remember, after Game 1 in Denver, I still felt good about because I said Denver doesn't look like some unbeatable, unstoppable force. I don't feel that way. Well, after Games 3 and 4, I looked at this Denver team. They look like a champion. That's a great team. And of course, you know, the big story, we had our chance when Jokic left the game at the start of the 4th quarter with the fouls. Jokic went out with, 10 minutes left? Came back, I believe, with 4. And the Heat made up 1 point. Now, they did get it to 5, 86-81 at one point, and the crowd was on fire. They were going crazy because it was looking like we're going to do it. When Jokic went to the bench there with 10 minutes left, it was clearly the next 5 minutes, biggest 5 minutes of the season. We have to make up all of this ground. We have been given a gift with Jokic having to get sent to the bench. And they ended up making up 1 point. Because when the Heat cut it to 86-81, Denver responded in a major way. You got the 3-point play from Jimmy. The crowd is super into it. And Denver, once again, like they did in Game 3 also, totally answered the bell. Denver's just better. There's nothing to be ashamed of there. They cut the lead to 86-81 with 8 minutes left, I think it was. It looked like it was on. Crowd's going crazy. And then the next sequence of events, you had a pair of missed jumpers from Bam. You had turnover Jimmy, turnover Duncan. That was it. With Jokic on the bench, there's no room for error in that spot. When we were trailing by, 10? No room for error. Bam. And well, look, while it's not automatic, Bam has to hit those 2 wide open jumpers. Jimmy can't turn the ball over in the paint. Duncan can't turn the ball over in the paint. You had to be completely error-free and make all your open shots in that spot. You had to be perfect, and we weren't. And like I said, that's nothing to be ashamed of. But Denver looked like a champion where the Heat are making a run, Jokic is on the bench for fouls, and they responded with guys like Bruce Brown, Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. It wasn't even so much Jamal Murray. It was the other guys. It's a phenomenal response from them. You got to give them credit. And we all know Jimmy's hurt. He's not making excuses. He's never going to do that. Jimmy just hasn't looked this. And Jimmy had a phenomenal 4th quarter in Game 2. He had a great Game 3, great Game 4. But he has not looked the same this series as he had most of the postseason. Specifically the first 2.5 rounds. he had this swagger about him in the Milwaukee series. This is my shit, you know, when he's got the 56-point game, pointing at Jrue Holiday. Don't forget, pointing at Jrue Holiday in Game 5, I own you. The Heat were still down by 5 with 2 minutes left. That's a certain kind of confidence. Jimmy had that swagger against Milwaukee. He had it against New York. You know, when he didn't play in Game 2, and the Knicks pulled out Game 2, and Jimmy's on the bench smiling and shaking his head, yes. We haven't seen that this series. Against Boston, nose-to-nose with Grant Williams, mocking Al Horford with the timeout, pointing at Grant Williams when he's on the ground, three-point play in Game 3. Jimmy had that attitude, the Boston series as well. We haven't seen it this series. Not that Jimmy hasn't been good. He's been really good these last 2 games. It's hard as hell, man, in the finals. He's been really good. But he hasn't looked the same. And I think the easiest place to see that, he hasn't had that attitude this series. And I think it's because he's hurt. I think because he knows he's not able to do all of the things that he wants to do right now. And unfortunately, look, you're never going to get me to be critical of Jimmy Butler. He is all-time Miami Heat player. I love him so much. You're never going to get me to be, even if Jimmy struggles tonight. Nope. You will never get me to be critical about him. But there is an element to it where, for the people who have always said he's not a number 1 guy, I don't think you go in a championship with Jimmy as your number 1 guy. I clearly don't agree with that, because look at where we are right now. But part of that package, like part of that argument, right, is, yeah, look, like, he's hurt. He can only take you so far. He's got miles on him. He's got some age. And this is part of the package, right, where he can't be the guy. I don't believe that, but this is part of that argument, right? It is. All right, I want to finish up some Heat stuff, too, as we get ready for tonight. And then I got a lot on the Panthers also, of course. But listen, guys, if you're in the market for a new car, you can't decide where to go. That can be like a stressful thing. It shouldn't be stressful, though. It shouldn't give you anxiety, because getting yourself a new car, that should be exciting. Well, listen, look no further. I'm sending you to the only car dealership I personally endorse, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. You walk in the showroom doors at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru and let a member of their friendly sales team help navigate you in the right direction. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru carries the widest inventory of the newest Subaru models on the market. That includes the Subaru Outback, the Crosstrek, the Forester, the Ascent. Whether you're looking for a spacious Subaru SUV for the entire family, maybe you just want a reliable Subaru sedan for yourself, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru is sure to have the perfect model for you. Get sizzling summer savings at North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. New Subaru models starting at just $249 a month. Save up to $1,500 off MSRP on select new Subaru models in stock, plus receive up to $750 in trade-in assistance. Shop NFLSubaru.com. North Fort Lauderdale Subaru, conveniently located on North Andrews Avenue, just north of Cypress Creek Road. The building you know and the place to go. NFLSubaru.com, North Fort Lauderdale Subaru. So, it's hard to have confidence going into this game tonight, right? When the reality is, the Heat have lost 6 of their last 8 games. Like, you lose 6 out of 8 games in the regular season, that's super frustrating because there are probably some not-so-great teams mixed in there. You're clearly hitting a bad stretch, but maybe you can get a slump buster coming up next. You play Detroit, or you play Houston, or you play San Antonio. You lose 6 out of 8 in the playoffs, you're in big trouble because you're only facing great competition, and one of the teams that's beating you 6 out of 8 times, you're playing again tonight. It's hard to feel confident when the Heat have lost 6 out of 8. The Heat now as well. Like, let's say they win tonight, which they totally can. I don't expect them to, but they totally can. The Heat have lost 4 straight at home. Like, how about this? How can you be in the NBA Finals? This is remarkable, right? It just shows you how good the Heat are on the road. This is remarkable. How can you be in the finals, in the middle of the NBA Finals, and you've lost 4 in a row at home? That's nuts. And also on top of it, we talked about this on Friday. Overall, this part's especially shitty. Overall, the Heat have lost 4 straight games in the finals at home. Games 3 and 4 in 2014 to San Antonio, and games 3 and 4 this year against Denver. Last time the Heat won a home game in the finals, you got to go back to Game 7, best week of your life, 2013 finals. It's been 10 years since the Heat have won a home game in the finals. Now, granted, that's 3 appearances ago. It's not like it's 10 appearances, but the Heat have lost 4 straight finals games at home. That sucks. And 4 straight playoff games this year, which also stinks because, like, man, the Heat fan has been so good. And to go home with an L 4 straight times sucks. I'm not even talking about the money that you spend. Sucks. And how about this? Not only 4 straight home losses this postseason, but 4 straight home losses when you're the lower seed. Like, how the hell can you survive like that? It's crazy. And also, if you want to talk about reality, the reality of it is, if the Heat, this is the part that's going to be really frustrating, right? If the Heat just, like, the Heat really needed to protect the home court and win games 3 and 4 to win this series. See, the Heat had to win games 3 and 4. Denver only needed to win 1. Denver was in good shape if they got back their home court advantage and went home tonight, best of 3 home court advantage. The Heat, winning that game 2 on the road doesn't mean anything if you don't then protect your home court. The Heat needed to win both. Denver only needed to win 1, and they got both. So the reality of it is, if the Heat just got 1 of those 2 games, we got a big-time series. That part's frustrating. It sucks. And here's another I'm going to drop some more reality on you here. Here's another reality. The Heat have been getting beat this entire series. We're 4 games in. The Heat have been getting essentially smashed this entire series except for the 4th quarter of Game 2. That's reality. The Heat start that 4th quarter of Game 2 Wolves at a 16-2 run. Duncan Robinson comes out, 8 straight points. If not, who knows what would happen after that if he didn't do that. If Duncan Robinson doesn't start the 4th quarter of Game 2 with 8 straight points, we're probably swept. The Heat have been getting beat down the entire series except the 4th quarter of Game 2. That's reality. Otherwise, it's been all Denver. There have been no other stretches where it felt like the Heat weren't in control. None. Or they were on a roll. Like, you had that short stretch in the 2nd quarter of Game 3. The Heat went up 37-33 after the Bam putback slam. And then Jamal Murray hit a crazy 3, and the Nuggets ended the half on a run. They led by 5. We had no chance in the second half. We haven't been able to get on a roll. We haven't had any real sustained run except the 4th quarter, Duncan Robinson, 4th quarter of Game 2. Otherwise, it's been all Denver, which is why it's so hard to feel like they're going to win tonight. Denver's just better. Now, they can win tonight, but here's the thing. The formula is actually really simple. Have to shoot lots of threes. The Heat have to get hot from 3. That's how the game's played now. We know that. That's how the NBA played now. And if the Heat are hot from 3, and several guys are due, I mean, Vincent Strus last game, several guys are due. The Heat can win this game tonight, but the only formula for me that I could see them winning this game, this is a game they have to hit 17, 18, 19 threes. I really think a major part of the game plan tonight needs to be we are hunting for threes. And hopefully we have several stretches in the game where we just get so hot from three. That's the equalizer. When you're not as good, the three-pointer is the equalizer. Tonight has to be a night where we are hunting for threes. All drive and kick. And just, we gotta be hot. It's gotta be, and you know what? I would start Robinson tonight over Strus. I would. He's earned it. I'm not benching Strus, but I'd bring him off the bench. I'd start Robinson. Like, he's been hot. Let's go. I really think that's the only way we win tonight. And we can, like that. Have to be super hot from three. For me, that's the way to go. That's the way to do it.